Welcome to The Explainer. You know, we hear the word development tossed around every single day, but we rarely stop to actually look at it. We're constantly sold this gleaming illusion of wealth, towering skyscrapers, booming stock markets, massive industrial projects. But what actually is the reality of human progress? Today, we're going to decode development. We're going to pull back the curtain and look at the harsh contrasts hiding right beneath the surface of our global economy.
Just read that quote for a second. It perfectly captures the voices of those left in the shadows of progress. Think of a rickshaw puller navigating a smog-choked city, just watching luxury cars speed by. We have to establish a core, undeniable thesis right from the jump here. Development is not a universal positive. Because people have vastly different life situations, their goals are entirely different, and, this is absolutely crucial, development for one group can literally mean the direct destruction of another.
The divide is just stark. On one hand, you have the industrialist's ultimate dream, high-rises and massive infrastructure projects meant to generate power and capital, which are often built right over urban slums. On the other hand, you have the harsh reality for the tribal communities of the Narmada Valley, who are protesting the Sardar Sarovar Dam. To get more electricity, the industrialist absolutely needs the dam, but that very same dam submerges the land and completely disrupts the lives of the people actually living there. Basically, progress for the city is displacement for the village.
Section 1. The illusion of averages.
Now that we've seen the human cost, let's look at how we actually track all this progress. We constantly measure our national success in averages, but when we do that, we have to ask a really hard question. What can money actually buy? A high average income cannot buy you a breath of clean air if your environment is totally destroyed. It doesn't buy you unadulterated medicine, and it definitely won't protect you from infectious diseases unless the whole community takes preventative steps together. True development relies on public facilities, health, security, a clean environment, things that individual wealth simply cannot secure on its own.
Yet, global institutions often just ignore that reality. The World Bank uses per capita income, which is the total income divided by the population, to label countries as rich, middle income, or low income. But guys, treating an entire nation as a single mathematical average is a massive illusion. It completely hides brutal disparities. Think about it. If a country has 1 billionaire and 9 people in extreme poverty, the average makes them all look middle class. It tells us absolutely nothing about how that income is actually distributed.
We see this illusion completely shatter when we look at state-by-state realities in India. Haryana boasts significantly fuller pockets than Kerala, right? It has a much higher per capita income. Yet if you look at the infant mortality rate, Haryana suffers nearly 3 times the infant deaths per 1,000 live births compared to Kerala. Why is that? Well, it's because Kerala prioritizes basic health and educational facilities. This proves definitively that money is a profoundly flawed yardstick for measuring the actual quality of human life.
Section 2. The global race. The true index.
So, if income isn't the best measure, then what on earth is? Enter the Human Development Index, or HDI. Instead of just checking a nation's bank account, the United Nations Development Program asks a much more profound question. Are we actually living better? By combining educational levels, health status, and income, the HDI measures progress by checking if infants are surviving, if children are learning to read, and if people are living longer. By putting the word human right there in front of development, it centers the citizen, not just the economy. This completely changes how we view global power. Take Sri Lanka, a much smaller neighbor, which actually outpaces India significantly in the HDI rankings, sitting at 89, while India is down at 130. Why? Because their life expectancy is over 5 years longer, and their citizens spend nearly 4 more years in school on average. They prioritize the human scale alongside their gross national income. And that proves for sure that targeted public investment changes lives a lot faster than just trying to grow the GDP.
Section 3. The borrowed future. But even as we figure out how to measure development fairly, there is this massive shadow looming over all of it. As we chase these metrics, the clock is ticking. Our current trajectory of development, our endless extraction, consumption, and expansion, is physically unsustainable. As the saying goes, we haven't inherited the world from our forefathers, we've borrowed it from our children. We aren't just using our resources, we're actively stealing them from the generations that follow us. And this builds into an undeniable crisis. 50 years. At our current global extraction rate, the world's proven crude oil reserves will be completely drained in just half a century. Literally, 50 years. The engine of our modern industrial development is running on a fuel tank that is rapidly approaching empty.
And that forces countries without reserves to secure oil through heavy economic burdens or sometimes even military power.
But it's not just fossil fuels. It's the very water we drink and use to grow our food. We are aggressively draining our ancient, life-giving aquifers. Nearly one-third of India is already overusing its groundwater, particularly in agriculturally prosperous regions like Punjab in western UP. If we don't change course, in just 25 years, 60% of the country will be operating in a severe water deficit. I mean, we are literally turning our development into a countdown.
Which brings us to the ultimate crossroads. As we look at the reality of our progress, the displaced communities, the illusion of average wealth, and the rapid exhaustion of our planet, is a sustainable future even possible under our current definition of development? Can we find a way to thrive without destroying the very foundation we stand on? It's a question we all have to answer. Thanks for exploring this explainer with me, and keep questioning the data.